Welcome to Psych for Psychology, a Nystrom & Associates podcast. Our host, Brett Cushing, is a licensed marriage and family therapist at Nystrom. Each week, he talks about all things mental health and therapy with guests, and you get a chance to dive into specific psychology topics that help promote personal development and wellness. And now, your host, Brett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Psych for Psychology. Great to have you here. We are going to be very nice. We're going to be talking about please.
That's so polite.
I know. We're trying to be really not polite. We don't care about being polite today. We care about
rude
using this acronym of please.
Oh, it's an acronym.
A game changer for us. Seriously, we're going to be talking about PLEASE, the word please, and what those letters stand for, and how we appropriate those corresponding words into our lives. And this honestly can be a game changer. This is a DBT concept Marsha Linehan has talked about in her books and her workbook for people that are in DBT. Mm-hmm. And it's really a way to take care of ourselves. Now, I've found... Yep. For myself and for my clients, when they engage in all of these things we're going to be talking about in the acronym of please, mm-hmm. It is such a game changer for people. Like, the quality of our lives really goes up when we are committed to the things we're going to be talking about today. And it's not like rocket science either.
Well, what's exciting, I'm excited about this because it sounds like it's going to be some quick takeaways for improving your mental health, like starting today, right? And then you're probably already doing a lot of these things. So it can be both reassurance for what you're already doing, and also here's some quick takeaways for if you're struggling in any way. Yeah.
It certainly can be.
All right.
So
let's kick off, man. I'm
excited.
Do it.
Yeah, the first letter is P, obviously, in please. Mm-hmm. And that stands for physical illness. Okay. And the idea is take care of your physical illnesses. Now, again, this is not rocket science. But yet, how often do we go to the doctor or go to the dentist?
Yeah. Dentist, I'm getting better at the 6-month checkups, but I don't love going to the doctor, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Part of me is like, I don't want to find out something's
Ignorance
wrong.
is bliss.
Right. Now, I am extremely grateful to have pretty good health, so that's part of it as well. But yeah, it's a good reminder for me too. I do need to get in for a checkup now and again. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Yeah. We don't it's like getting on the scale. Ignorance is bliss. I don't want to
know.
Right. But we can't really address our physical illness if we don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
We can't, get an idea of where we are currently. Right. And so we want to take care of that. Now, what can happen is we can kind of fall on two sides of the road when it comes to our physical illness. Okay. Like, I had a friend once who had a really bad cold, and he was just complaining about it. He's like, oh, I just feel miserable. And he's like, tells his wife, I'm really sick. And she's like, you're not sick. You just have a cold. I was like, I thought that qualified as sick, but apparently not. So one side of the road we fall to is we deny kind of that we have any sickness or that we have any need to go to the doctor.
Right.
Now, the other side of the road we can go on is we can overemphasize our maladies too. Mm-hmm. And we know people that, they get a sniffle and it's like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. The sky's falling. And so it keeps us from doing anything. And so we want to have a good balance to make sure that I'm addressing any of my physical illnesses. Right. And that means medications. We've got to be taking medications and supplements. We don't have very much nutrition in a lot of our foods. So,
oh my gosh, right.
Supplements are super helpful.
Yep. I think one more point on that. What if, because I think about when times I'm like, am I depressed? Like I have no energy. I'm, just different times throughout my life, and going to the doctor actually can really be helpful to rule out, like, is there something more going on, right? And do I have a low-grade infection? Do I have some other thing that's, low iron or something, right?
Yeah.
And then by taking those steps, that could give me a boost in terms of addressing, depression or anxiety too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, in other words, when we're thinking about physical illness, notice we can ignore this, or we can overindulge what's going on with us. And we want to have kind of a balance.
Yep.
And
I
so
love that.
whatever you and I need to be doing for our physical illness might be just getting a baseline. Where am I? Getting some blood work done.
There you go.
What's my cholesterol? What's
Blood sugars.
Right.
Yep.
What is all of that?
Nice.
And making sure we're doing all of our meds and nutritional supplements, things like that.
Nice. I love it. Okay, so what about the L?
L is my favorite.
I'm already like...
L is my favorite. And, it's the favorite of our audience, too.
Good.
Because we have a podcast on laughter. The L stands for laughter, and we have a podcast entitled "Is Laughter Really the Best Medicine?" And I say it's popular because it's the one people have downloaded the most. And we have our good friend Dan Miller, and he did such a great job. We laughed a lot, and so laughter. And so, it's funny. I read a study like kids. I wish I knew the exact number, but kids laugh so much more than adults.
Oh my gosh, I believe that.
And you listen to those kids laughing, like little babies giggling and things, and you can't help but laugh. And
right.
And there was a study. I wish I could remember. There were just exponentially more that children laugh, and it's like as we get older, we tend to laugh less. I wonder sometimes if, we think, I've got this to do, I've got all these adulting things to do, and laughter is a nice bonus if I get that in my day, but we're not intentional about it.
That is so true. I've got to run to the store, I've got to, fill up with gas, I got to do all these things. We don't say I've got to laugh. It's more like if I happen to, that's fine.
Yeah.
But but that's a great point.
It's incidental, it's not intentional. It's sort of optional, but not essential.
Yep.
And why is laughter important? Well, we talk a lot about that on that podcast, why laughter is important.
Sure.
But I'll just suffice to say it helps us build resiliency.
Okay.
It helps build our immune system. Laughter is fantastic. You and I like to laugh a lot.
I know. I laugh for no reason sometimes. I just get excited to be on to record,
It is fun.
Yeah.
And when we do laugh a lot.
Yep.
And what do people do? I like to make this observation. When people laugh, what's a behavior that inevitably happens when people laugh? They see something, they're laughing, and they turn. And they look to somebody else.
Okay.
And when we're laughing and we look at somebody else, what's going on is there's a connection. So it helps us emotionally, it helps us physically, and it's indispensable. So we really need to ask ourselves, kind of like with our health, what's my baseline? What do I need to do? I'd like to encourage listeners, what do you do to ensure that there is daily laughter in your life?
I love that.
I came across an article as well in the Harvard Business Review that talked about how essential it is to have laughter in the workplace.
Yes.
It's so good and it's so important. And you and I like to have fun, and we like to play jokes on each other at my clinic and do funny things, and laughter is just so important in the workplace.
Bonus takeaway tip: if you are interviewing for a job, how much laughter happened in the interview?
Ooh, right.
So either you're hiring someone or you're the one being potentially hired. How much? So just notice again, how does laughter? Might be a fun place to work. Just saying.
Wouldn't a place of laughter and joy? Harvard Business Review did a thing on joy too, and how crucial it is for joy to also be in the workplace.
Yep. Awesome. We should do another one on. Let's get Dan Miller back. We need to get Dan Miller back. And do
I need Dan Miller back because I need to laugh. And I swear, every time I'm with that guy, I laugh.
I'm laughing just thinking about his laugh.
Yeah, you would think he's got a great laugh. He's got a great sense of humor. And think about that. How do we surround ourselves?
See, that's another point.
With people who make us laugh. My kids, I just thought of this. They tell me, my two brothers, Doug and Tim, kids tell me, Dad, we love seeing you with Uncle Doug and Uncle Tim. I said, why is that? Because they say, we never see you laugh so hard as when you're with them.
I'm going to actually spend time with both my sisters this weekend, and it's the same.
Really?
We just, oh my gosh, we crack up. It's going to be a blast.
Right.
I can't wait.
So we need to surround ourselves with people who make us laugh, and sometimes that can be people on TV or videos and things too.
Yep.
But we need to be
Funny animal videos.
Funny animal videos, right? Yes, exactly.
All right, that brings us to E, P-L-E. What does the E stand for?
Oh, this is tough.
This one's not as fun as the laughter one.
This. Look, I looked at you when we laughed. Did you see?
Yes, I did. Totally.
So
I was
the
ready.
E, the E stands for eating, but there's a little qualifier here.
Okay.
It's balanced.
Balanced eating.
Eating.
It's not just any eating.
Yeah.
It's not eating whatever you want.
And it's not perfect eating either, so we got to make that
I love
distinction.
that.
Yes.
You know, the middle path, every time I love it.
Yes.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It is about having balance.
Right.
Perfect.
So balanced eating. Why is this important?
Great question.
Yeah, and how do we do it? Because it is so hard in our culture to do balanced eating. We talked about pornography a couple of weeks ago and how like it's so easy to access pornography.
Right there.
It's so anonymous. It's so accessible. The same is true for bad food in our culture.
I agree.
It's so like
It's right there.
bowl of M&Ms on the counter, somewhere. You go to. I was looking at somebody else in your clinic. I went to say hi and introduce myself to somebody.
Yeah.
Big bowl of candy, and I'm like Hershey Kisses.
Oh
man.
my goodness, I know.
So it's so easy.
Yep. You walk into a gas station.
Oh yeah.
There's like chips, candy. like you have to I have to put blinders on when I go in.
Yes, and the healthy food
Yeah.
is usually a lot more expensive than the unhealthy stuff is usually cheap.
Right.
So especially now that we use this artificial sugar and we don't use the pure cane sugar anymore, and so it's dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You can get. I remember what qualifies today as a small Coke from McDonald's. I think was like a super extra large when I was growing up as a kid.
Wow.
And
just
it's
portions.
It's dirt cheap. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Portions are huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're eating all these carbs and sugars, that just makes us hungry all the time.
Right. And now we're back to dopamine. You said a few weeks ago we talked about pornography and the dopamine hit we get. Same for sugar, right? Sugar and snacks, because there's additives and there's special chemicals that make flavors just like explode,
right.
So, yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
I know, me too.
I want pizza.
Right.
So I think one thing that can help us with balanced eating is to be mindful about what we're eating. And how do we do that? I remember I used MyFitnessPal. It's a free app.
Ooh, yep, I've used that one too.
I remember the first time I started using MyFitnessPal, I went to a Perkins, and I was going to get a bran muffin.
Good one.
Because I'm going to be healthy.
Good example.
Yeah,
you're thinking bran, that's healthy.
Super healthy. I'm going to be buff by dinner time because I'm having bran. Eat bran to be buff, right? And so I'm thinking, I'm a good guy. Look what I did. I put it in MyFitnessPal, and there was a ton of calories and astronomical amount of carbs in there.
Was it like 1,000 calories or something?
Oh, yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this. I wasn't mindful and aware that I could have had eggs and hash browns.
Fruit.
For far less carbs and calories.
Wow.
And so a big part of, I think, helping us to eat more balanced is to track what we eat and track our macros, our fats, our proteins, our carbs, and to set limits on that and then daily put that in so we can track. Doesn't mean we have to be perfect.
Exactly.
It's just let's have some balance here.
Right. It's not about becoming overly strict, but finding balance.
And just know that the carbs and the sugar are just going to make us more hungry. So the more protein we can actually take in every 2 to 3 hours will actually satiate us better so we're not hungry all the time.
Right.
So it's replacing the carbs and the sugar with protein.
Right. The carbs and sugar spike the blood sugar, right?
Right.
And then the blood sugar has to come down because it went so high. And once it crashes down, that's actually people have sometimes mental health symptoms.
Right.
Like depression, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, even for some, maybe some psychosis.
Right.
It's been studied.
So if I'm depressed and I'm anxious, that's okay, Krista, because I know what to do to get out of that.
Yep.
I can just have more pizza or I can have a soda, right? Because
ice cream.
It brings that back up again.
Right.
So again, just being mindful about all this can be helpful, and it doesn't mean we're all going to become overnight fitness gurus. We're just trying to find some balance.
I love it. All right. So A, I believe, is for avoid mood altering substances.
We just kind of touched on that already.
We kind of did.
Yeah. There's just the effect of like in all of our food. We have, I've heard sugar being addicted. Many of us are addicted to sugar because it's in everything.
And it's highly addictive.
Sugar addiction is as powerful as cocaine addiction.
Yes, that is. They I believe studied rats.
Right.
That they actually preferred sugar once they had both. That, when they had the choice to hit the lever for sugar water or for cocaine, they would go to sugar water.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what were they drinking? Mountain Dew or
probably.
That's what I go to.
Right.
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
And it's not too good for me. So
right.
I also heard this. Now, just to underscore mood altering, like food, for instance, is mood altering. The pleasure center of our brain goes up like 50% if we have food.
Wow.
The pleasure center of our brain goes up by 100%, I think, if we have alcohol.
No way.
If someone takes meth, the pleasure center of the brain goes up 1,200.
Oh my gosh.
And so
that's so much.
What people have concluded is that there are some things that are just too pleasurable for the brain to actually comprehend and take in.
Right. And maybe recover from.
Right. Because, recover, like you touched on it. We have this high.
Right.
And then for every high, we have at least an equivalent low.
I just had the image of like getting electrocuted. Like if that, like there's certain amounts of energy that are too much for the body, right? Like we can't fathom it without kind of some damage, right?
Right.
So yeah.
But then when the damage comes or the depression comes as this equivalent low, the body says, well, I know how to deal with that.
Just do it more.
Right. I can go back. As we talked about, keep coming back to our pornography podcast that we did.
It's relevant.
We know what the brain just wants the chemicals again.
You know what? I think this maybe we should write to Marsha Linehan because I think it should be avoid mood altering substances and behaviors.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because we're really kind of hitting on a lot of behaviors can have the same effect.
Right, because we can introduce chemicals to us, or we can engage in behaviors that produce chemicals too.
Yeah,
right.
Cool.
So we got to be careful with mood-altering substances and know what our limits are.
Totally.
And caffeine, another one too. I just want to.
You just had an energy drink. I was like, you want one?
Yeah.
I'm like peer pressuring.
That's true. Yeah. Thanks so much. I hope you feel a lot of shame about that now.
I sure do. And Brett said no.
I did say no.
He resisted peer pressure.
Yes. So, all right. The S stands for sleep.
Ooh.
Now, a little shout out coming our way in about 2 months from now.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, we have Rick Blackburn, Dr. Blackburn, coming and talking about sleep hygiene. There's more and more research coming out today about the importance of sleep. And so you don't want to miss that one. I think be coming out probably in about 2 months and in end of August. And so sleep, wow, this is a huge vulnerability factor.
Sure.
I don't know about you. When I'm tired, I'm my worst self. You remember those Snickers commercials? They always used to say, when you're hungry, you're really not yourself.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Remember that? Some they have some evil character, and then they take a bite of their Snickers.
And they, of course, make a full recovery.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
that's kind of brilliant.
And I think, it's not that we aren't ourselves. We just happen to be our worst selves. And I think when we are sleep deprived, the research really indicates that really can be one of our number one vulnerability factors, even more than hunger.
Right. Now I'm thinking about HALT again, or as you had called it, SHELT.
Yeah.
So hungry, angry, lonely, tired, we're very, very vulnerable to certain behaviors or to making decisions that we may regret, right?
Yeah.
And what was the S? If you're
stressed.
Stressed, okay.
Stressed, hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
And then somewhere in there, bored fits in.
Yes.
But so how much sleep, what's a good amount of sleep to be getting, do you think?
More.
Always more, right?
Always more. Yeah, there's the old adage, more is never enough, and I don't know if that really applies for sleep.
We should ask Rick.
We'll have to
Dr.
ask
Blackburn, we should be like, okay, first of all, why is it called sleep hygiene?
Yeah.
I'm always like, why do they say hygiene? Because I think of personal hygiene or cleanliness.
It's not like
that's my
putting
first
on
question.
Deodorant or something. Yeah.
But the other one is, is there such thing as too much sleep?
Yeah, well, we definitely know there is. There can be both ways, and for the lower end, anything less than 7 hours of sleep, and we are compromised. We are not working and operating at our best. And so the optimal is like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And some of us are more emotionally wired, which is fine.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that. But think about that. For those of us that are emotionally wired, emotion, I always think of, stands for energy in motion. And so if we're more emotional, we're expending more energy during the day. We need more to recover and get that energy back. So maybe if we're more on the emotional side, 8-9 hours of sleep.
Yep.
But what do? We think, I'm fine. I just need 5 hours and I'll be good. And we can be if we have an energy drink, Krista.
Hey! I shouldn't have been. I was vulnerable and I admitted.
And
I admitted that
weaponizing that against you.
No, it's true.
What did I
energy.
say? I didn't have my coffee today, and so
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a little funky.
Yeah.
And really, that is why there is such a rise in all of these energy drinks, the 5-hour energies, all the different coffees you can get, because we are not getting enough sleep, and we are very much compromised and not able to be at our full self. When we're getting anything less than 7 hours. So how do I do that? Like, what do we need to do to sleep better, do you think?
Well, the first thing I thought of, and I'm completely guilty of this, is screen time before bed. Shut off the phone, put it away, and because I think that cuts into my sleep, is being either on my phone or whatever, or watching TV or something. So,
all right, full disclosure here.
Okay,
like I was doing that last night too. I kept playing this game, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get to this next level, and I never could. I was so jacked up by 10 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm gonna play one more, and then I'm going right to bed.
Can I ask you, was it Candy Crush?
It was not Candy Crush.
Was it Farm Town, or like there's a farming one? I had to delete it. I kept spending my own money.
Right.
This is like True Confessions, I guess.
Right. Yeah, we need to have that. Probably another podcast someday.
True Confessions of Brett and Krista.
Yeah,
okay, anyways.
Probably like a 2-hour podcast. So we screen time, definitely. We do have this thing called like our circadian rhythm. And so our body will know it's time to go to bed. If we go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time.
That's a great tip.
Our body will naturally adopt to that and adapt that time frame. And you won't even need an alarm to get up. Now, what happens? We think, oh, it's the weekend. I'm going to stay up till 2 because I never get to do this.
And then I'm going to sleep in.
Then I'm going to sleep in, and we are way off kilter.
Seems like a good idea at the time, right?
So we really, and there's studies that show people who actually, even on the weekend, stay to their schedule, they feel more energy, and they also feel like, I got more time on my weekend.
Yes.
So
I totally believe that.
Really, a couple things to help there, like the screen time. Use your bed just for sleep.
I was just gonna say that. Ooh. I think that's another one. Yeah, like don't eat in your bed. Don't like make your bed be just for sleep, because then your brain will associate the bed with sleep versus like, oh, I'm gonna play games.
Precisely. Yes.
I'm gonna play Candy Crush Saga or whatever.
Candy Crush. I can't believe you brought up Candy Crush. Do you still play that?
I don't.
Okay.
I can't have those games on my solution was to delete, like if I can't download them because I'll be up till all hours. It's just.
Well, we need to talk about that. So,
okay.
And not you, but I mean,
yes, me too.
In general.
Yeah,
that can really interfere. And that's when it interferes, because I think we're looking for time. I just need to unwind.
Exactly. No, that's why I would do it.
And because we're so jam-packed with our schedule, that's the time we finally get to unwind. And I know it's time to go to bed, so I at least get into bed, and I'm trying to unwind. And it jacks us up. And
then we're like, one more level. And then I look and it's like 11 o'clock.
Right. And so what I was saying at the outset of this, with everything we've been talking about so far, we got one more to talk about. But when we talk about physical illness and laughter, and when we talk about eating in a balanced way, and we talk about avoid mood-altering substances, and when we talk about sleep, honestly, think about this. If we could commit to doing these things, it truly is a game changer. For the quality of our life. We will have a much greater quality of life. Now,
absolutely.
The last one?
Okay, what is it? Dun, dun, dun.
Exercise.
Exercise.
Now that's tough. It's we kind of substitute the word activity instead of exercise because exercise kind of has this negative connotation, like I hate exercising. And sometimes we just need to have activity. I mow the lawn, and I don't like mowing the lawn sometimes, but
it is activity.
It's activity. Yeah. It's not exercise or just going for a walk. And so it almost seems like there's new literature out every week demonstrating the benefits, the physiological, but more importantly and more often, the emotional and mental well-being that results from regular exercise.
Definitely. Actually, that was the whole reason that I had this idea, or that I wanted to do this topic, because I was like, well, let's talk about some things that are like really good for mental health. And of course, there's a DBT skill.
Of course.
Right. And so, but exercise is such a good one. And it's tricky, right? Because it's something that we all hear, like, oh, I gotta exercise. You know, it's so common to hear that. But I always say I'm trying a new type of exercise that's just like plain fun. So I always tell people, and I experiment with things like find something you truly enjoy and that is fun for you to do if possible. Right. Because then you're getting away from like the you should. It's more like, no, this is just fun. And like as a side benefit, I'm also moving my body, right?
Right. And I like that. If you're going to have fun, exercise, you're going to be much more likely to do it.
Continue. Exactly.
And I would say exercise is like a natural antidepressant or a natural anti-anxiety thing for us, because it really does have such a positive impact upon us. Yep. And what do I need to do? It doesn't mean I need to do PX90, whatever.
Oh yeah, P90X.
P90X, yeah.
I think I made it through like 2 days of that once. That was a long time ago. Okay. But I was like, this is But right, we don't have to go to an extreme. We can find amounts of time that work for us.
6 days a week.
I was going to say, I was going to say 5 minutes. Like, start where you are. So don't, really good point. I know I tend to fall into the trap of, okay, now I have to do this thing every day for an hour. It's like, no, try just doing a little more than you're doing now and doing it consistently, and then see how you feel.
Right. Just build a little bit of mastery and a little bit, and then challenge a little bit more, because our approach to many things, especially eating and especially with exercise, we tend to be all or nothing in our thinking. Like, I've got to be 7 days a week. It's got to be an hour. And then if I miss a day, nothing counts anymore.
I'm quitting this.
Right. Yeah. And really, I think a good goal would be to try to get to about 5-6 days a week for 20 to 25 minutes of some vigorous activity. Yep. Albeit fun if possible. Yep. And be at a really good place for your own mental health. It's a good goal to be shooting for.
Agreed.
Yeah, it really helps us. It will also help with our sleep. It will help with our focus. It helps with anxiety. It helps with depression.
It all relates.
Yeah, it really does. So again, I think that now I forgot I wanted to share this. Get this. The research shows that healthcare costs. We know how exorbitant our healthcare costs are here in the United States.
Yes.
The research shows that healthcare costs in the United States could be reduced by 2/3 if people exercised regularly.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it is better to prepare than repair.
Okay.
And this is
proactive instead of reactive.
Right.
Yep.
So
no, that is it's a little bit like hard to wrap your mind around that statistic, right? I mean that's incredible.
So again, this is a real game changer for people when they can really commit to taking care of their physical illnesses, being very intentional about laughter, also eating in a way that's balanced, and keeping track of that, avoiding mood-altering substances, sleep 7 to 9 hours. And exercise or activity for about 20-25 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Just doing those things can absolutely change people's lives.
And if you're listening and you realize you're already doing some of these things, or maybe even all of these things, give yourself some credit for that. It's not easy all the time to take care of ourselves. So
it's hard work. Yeah, it's simple to understand this.
Yep.
And we're not trying to imply that this is simple to do. It's hard.
Right. Simple
But
to
it's-
remember, but yeah.
It's doable too.
It's doable.
And
Absolutely.
the effect is really pronounced.
Yes.
So we wish everybody well and applying
please-
this. And please.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks so much for
We'll
joining us.
catch you on the next one.
Thank you as always for listening, and please be sure to leave us a review. While this podcast can't be a replacement for therapy, we hope you enjoyed our discussion today and join us again next time. Nystrom & Associates is always available to those who are struggling. If you find yourself in need of support and help, please check us out at nystromcounseling.com.